about legislation and what we've got going on with the TFAB calendar and the end of eSNAP. So, Kate.
Hello, good afternoon, happy Monday. Depending how we're feeling about that this Monday. So my name is Kate Burgraff. I am the Executive Director of Foundation for Essential Needs, and there are some other FEN folks on the call here this afternoon, so jump in if I'm forgetting anything. Unfortunately, my colleague, Emily Bescher, who has been working alongside us at Extension for the statewide survey or the Minnesota Food Shelf Survey, she has moved on from Extension and is now at MDH, which is very exciting for her, but she is unable to join us, not joining us today, even if many of you might have had the chance to meet her in December at the data parties. So I want to provide a little bit of an update on what's happening related to the statewide survey, provide you with an updated timeline and some of the work that's been happening since the data parties. So I'm going to share my screen. I think I should be able to. All right, just give me a moment. Okay. And everything is looking okay, Stephanie? Perfect. So I'll get started here. Feel free to put any information in the chat if you have questions. I will answer them as I'm able to, or at the end. And there we go. And then as always, I just want to direct you to the Super Shelf website. I'll put that in the chat that has information about the statewide survey overall. All right, thanks to our other partners that have been doing this work. And if you've been connected to the survey over the last year, you know that we actually started this project about a year ago, hosting some stakeholder engagement sessions. So it's maybe come a bit full circle, hopefully, and we're getting really close to being able to have reports roll out to food shelves that were participating, as well as statewide and regional reports as well. Oops. So as we get started, we always want to bring ourselves back to the purpose of the statewide survey of the Minnesota Food Shelf Survey, and that it's really about centering the voices of people who are experiencing food insecurity in our work, and also creating this regular standard feedback loop to help inform and improve both food shelf services and the broader hunger relief sector. You can see along the bottom just a little bit about the timeline in terms of what has happened over the last year, including survey development, piloting, testing. Many of you were in the field helping clients and shoppers fill out surveys. And then if you had a chance to join us in December, we did some initial discussion and have a lot more work to do related to the themes that came out of the data parties in December. So as we get started, I just always want to make sure that we're remembering, and I'm working to channel Emily Bescher, if you knew her or had a chance to meet her, that really the most prevailing comment was thank you. And so as we go into this work, and there always might be opportunities to think about a little tweak here, some improvements here, some opportunities to do some things differently, we want to make sure that the overarching theme really was one of thanks, that your work is valued, it is important, and food shelves continue to provide really critical services across the community and really serve as an essential community infrastructure in so many places. So as we think about that going forward, we wanted to preview a little bit of the framework that you'll see as reports and supporting tools start rolling out in March. And so here you can get a little bit of a sense of how we're going to frame up the conversation and some of the work that's going to come out after the reports roll out. And we're using a question from the client survey to just kind of illustrate this a little bit. So the question was number 3 to clients: what barriers keep you from accessing food from this food shelf as frequently as you would like? So there's always a starting place being framed up. What are we doing well? What are we proud of? What do we want to celebrate? And we know that lots of the respondents to the statewide survey said that they actually have no barriers in accessing food from the food shelf that they visited. But there also might be additional areas of improvement. And so you can see some of the current barriers or kind of some of the challenges that folks faced in terms of their barriers. And then how do we think about this work as an opportunity for collaboration? What else do we need to know? What can we learn from others? How can we collaborate with others to address some of these improvements to maintain what we're doing well? And then are there additional resources that are needed to respond to barriers? And I think we know that Hunger Solutions, Partners to End Hunger, and lots of other partners in this space are doing really great work advocating for additional funding for food shelves that is necessary. And I think there's always local advocacy work and education that can be done in our communities as well. So just a few reminders in terms of engagement overall. Client surveys were completed in 2017, 2019, and 2022. You can see a growth over time in terms of engagement, and food shelf managers surveys were completed in 2019 and 2022. And just a quick reminder in terms of the 2022 client surveys is that there was actually about 7,600 surveys that were completed, but there were surveys removed if they did not fill out at least 50% of the survey questions. So we're looking at a slightly smaller analysis of that, of the total respondent data, and 40% of those surveys did come in online. As the work related to the data analysis continues to move forward, we're thinking a lot about what voices are represented in this work and who still might not be included. There were really some good conversations and data parties around who might not be visiting food shelves and not even have the opportunity to fill out this survey. And then we're also seeing some opportunity to have a little bit more detailed, unique customer profiles based on different demographic questions in the survey. So whether that might be race, gender, LGBTQ+ status, or identity, and household size or age. And so I think we're really looking forward to being able to share both what are some of the preferences and needs overall across the entire survey respondent group, but also what are some of those unique audiences that you all might be seeing in your food shelf. Again, this is the breakdown in terms of the entire statewide data. And so each food shelf, when you receive your own report, will look slightly differently. So we just want to highlight a couple of the items that tend to continue to guide this work in hunger relief. And talking about most important foods, we continue to see that fresh foods are being prioritized from the responses that survey that clients are sharing. And just a note related to the fresh fruits and vegetables, if you've looked at the survey results over time, in 2017, they were actually number 3. In 2019, they were number 2. And now in 2022, fresh fruits and vegetables is in the top spot. So just a kind of notice in terms of that evolution. And we know that this information is driving many of the sourcing decisions, both locally and at a statewide level. And we anticipate that hopefully this can continue to reinforce that importance for shoppers. We did keep just a couple quotes that were included in the data parties in this. There is a wealth of quotes, both within the client survey data and the food shelf manager data. And so there's going to be really a significant opportunity to share that out, to use some of those quotes, and each food shelf receiving a report will have their own quotes included in that. The other question that has been asked pretty consistently in the survey is really around most important experiences. And so you can see that choosing one's own food continues to be the top choice or most valued experience in this question, but we've also seen some movement in terms of the selection process being easy and plenty of different food options up higher in that order. And I don't know if you all have been having this conversation either in your own space or within your kind of like food shelf space, but this question of choice, kind of choice versus convenience, it's not necessarily one or the other, but some of these conversations that have come up because of adaptations in shopping models or in service models because of COVID. So I think that's an interesting area to dig into and to continue to look at, you know, if folks said selection process being easy was really important, what are some other characteristics of that audience that might be useful? Just another client. All right. We wanted to share just a little bit, just as we're thinking about really what are those customer profiles that may exist within the client survey data. We're also interested in thinking about what are those food shelf profiles that might be valuable to better understand across the board. And so there's several characteristics that we're seeing on the food shelf manager and the food shelf level that have been really interesting in terms of thinking about what needs they might have, what preferences they might have, and what strengths they bring into this space. And so you can see that really a strong portion of the respondents, 37%, were completely volunteer run and led food shelves. That there's really about a half and half split between manager length of time in their food program, with about half of respondents being, within the last 5 years in their role, and about half of them being over 6 years and over, and with 15% being 16 plus years in their food program. And so pulling out what some of those might mean is going to be really interesting as we finalize the statewide results for this and the report, and then also food program longevity. And then we just wanted to highlight, as we think about really the conversations related to funding and TFAP, some of the aspects that food shelf managers reported in terms of challenges in the last year, and highlighting perhaps what some of you are also feeling or what some of you responded in terms of the challenges related to food sourcing and increased demand for services and decreased volunteer capacity. We have been hearing this anecdotally across the conversations we've been having with food shelves, but really getting a strong sense that overwhelmingly, this is something that food shelves are facing pretty dramatically in the last year. Digging into that a little bit further, there was a question that was asked about TFAP availability. This was almost opposite the question that was asked in 2019, when there was an abundance of TFAP, those available in the system. And so this question is much more focused on the availability of TFAP over the last year and the impact that it's had both on the financial sustainability of food programs in terms of increasing food costs, but also the impact that it may have for services such as decreased food amount, decreased food variety, and potentially even decreasing the healthfulness of the food being offered. This is a really busy slide, but we wanted to really highlight some of the areas that food shelf managers noted in terms of needs for expanding their food shelf services. And I think the important aspect of this information as we think about it is that this voice, the voice and perspective of the food shelf manager is really critical to better understand what additional services, investments, opportunities that there are in the system as well when it's coupled with the client survey. And so the 2022 survey asked about infrastructure needs, time and funding needs, and also expertise needs, and what those services might be able to help food shelves do to expand those that they're serving in the community. And so we're anticipating pulling out these needs based on food shelf size of paid staff, as well as size in terms of services. And so we hope that that will give us some opportunities to think about how there might be some more targeted support to help food shelves address some of these challenges. So I want to make sure that we just talk a little bit about next steps in terms of the statewide survey report rollout and what you can expect in the coming month or so. So our timeline for rolling out both statewide reports and individual food shelf reports is March, so next month. And individual food shelf reports will go out to food shelves that have at least 10 survey responses. And then there also will be an infographic report similar to the one that was provided in 2019 on the statewide level. And then what you can also anticipate, and you'll hear more about as we move into March, is really this ability to access additional supporting tools. If you want to host your own discussion within your food shelf, if you want to have a kind of external peer facilitated discussion with your food shelf and your leaders, there will be a media kit and graphics to use on social media, and also one-on-one consultation available from some of the other organizations that have been working on this project. So we're really excited. We know that many of you are waiting for the results of the survey, and we want to make sure that when those reports roll out, they really are as vetted and accurate as possible as we move forward. So that is an update for what we have, and at this point in time, and I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm happy to answer questions.
I don't see anything in the chat. Does anyone have any questions about the survey?
I will just put a link to the Super Shelf website in the chat again, and happy to answer any questions offline as well. And really we'll be so much more excited to talk about the results in March when they come out. So thank you.
All right, so now no questions. All right. So yeah, now we'll hear from Jill with Hunger Solutions just about the end of eSNAP.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. I'm going to pull up a quick couple slides to share. Okay, hang on, having some technical difficulties here. Okay, why is it not letting me share? Anybody?
So technology is really not my thing. You're much better at it than me.
Let me hang on. Let's try one more thing here. I'm trying to make sure I'm in as a.
If you want to do that.
Here, let me try one more thing real quick.
And then if it doesn't work, we can skip to Jeanette and then come back too. That's cool. Oh, there we go.
Nope,
Something's
there we go.
happening. All right.
Perfect. So thank you for bearing with me, guys. The end of eSNAP is coming up very quickly. So many of you know we had extra SNAP benefits going to SNAP households across Minnesota throughout most of the pandemic. Households were going from whatever their calculated benefit amount was up to the maximum for their household size, or if they're already at the maximum benefit for their household size, they were getting an extra $95 a month in SNAP benefits. So these benefits have been huge for a lot of families, really helping them, with the resources they need to put food on the table. Unfortunately, with the passage of the federal spending bill at the end of last year, Congress set an end date for those eSNAP benefits. And benefits end in February because benefits are actually issued the following month. So they're based on February eligibility for SNAP and actually get paid out the following month. Our last eSNAP benefits here in Minnesota will be the March payment. So there are a few things that food shelves can do to help folks prepare for the end of those eSNAP benefits. First one is to learn what their regular benefit amount is. We hear a lot on the Minnesota Food Helpline that folks just aren't tracking the two different payments. Some people are really on top of it and they know they've got two different payments and which one's which one continues, but others, especially folks who are newer to the SNAP program, they've always experienced these full benefit amounts. And so they're just not tracking that their benefits are going to go down to a smaller amount. So one of the things to do is to help them figure out what their benefit amount is going to be going forward. I recommend that folks look it up using either the EBT Edge website or downloading the EBT Edge app or the provider's app on their mobile device. And whatever deposit is happening on the same day every month is the regular SNAP benefit amount. People can also call their county office to find out what that amount is. But we know counties are all overwhelmed processing applications. They're going to be answering a lot of questions as eSNAP winds down. So it'll probably be faster for folks to figure out how to look it up themselves online as opposed to sitting on hold with the county for a couple of hours to get an answer. The other thing to do is to start thinking about ways to maximize those SNAP benefits and stretch them further. So programs like Market Bucks, where people can swipe their EBT card at a participating farmer's market and get essentially a $2 for $1 in SNAP match, can really help stretch those benefits a lot further. There are also programs like Fair for All, which are discount groceries. So if you've got a farmer's market in your community that participates in Market Bucks or a Fair for All stop, those are great places for SNAP customers to go to really try to expand the amount of food that they're able to get for their SNAP dollars. Last thing is to make sure households are getting all of the SNAP benefits that they deserve. A lot of things have changed, a lot of circumstances have changed in households over the course of the pandemic. And it's always a good idea to check and make sure that claiming all of the deductions that are possible to be able to get the most benefits available. We have a screener on our website. It's hungersolutions.org/SNAP screener. People can go to put in their income, their household size, their expenses like rent or mortgage, whether they pay utility costs, and then any of their child and dependent care expenses or medical expenses for folks who are either over 60 or have a disabled family member. Those all count as deductions. And so the more of those that households are able to claim, the more their benefits will be. And this SNAP screener, if you put all the information in, will, one, tell if somebody is likely eligible for SNAP, but also a rough idea of what their benefits should be. So if somebody is not receiving what that calculator is saying they might be eligible for, could be worth them contacting the county, checking what deductions they are already claiming, and filing a change report form to make sure that they're getting as many benefits as they can. And then, so that's kind of what's happening. Food shelves can definitely help us all spread the word, make sure everybody who is on SNAP knows this change is coming, because it's going to be a big shock to a lot of families and their budget. DHS put together a toolkit. We've got it reposted on our website. There's sample newsletter, social media, FAQs. There's some social media graphics in there as well, in English and a bunch of other languages as well. So definitely go check that out for samples. You can share on social, either directly from your own pages, or if you are following us on Twitter or on Facebook, we'll be posting information there as well. So you can always share that with your social media feeds. And then, use the Minnesota Food Helpline for help. This is complicated. Deductions are always a little tricky to try to figure out and navigate if you're not in it every day. So, definitely send folks to us at the helpline. You can order materials on our website. They're free. We'll get them boxed up and sent out to you. We've got rack cards, flyers, business cards, all of that we're happy to send. Or if you've got somebody who's actually at the food shelf during our normal open hours in the helpline, give us a call with the client there on the phone, and we can help walk you all through what's going on and try to help navigate and maximize benefits for everybody. So that's what I've got. Do you guys have any questions about the end of eSNAP and what that means and what we can do about it? I'm going to pop a link in the chat. We've got a blog post up on the website that really kind of walks through all of these things. So if you have questions or trying to help folks navigate, definitely take a look at that and give us a call at the helpline, and we can try to help sort it out for you.
Hey, Jill, one quick question.
Sure.
Is there any way of making any sort of estimate how many people will be impacted in our region or location or county? Because we're just trying to estimate like what will it look like for us.
Yeah. Yes, sort of. There's a monthly report from DHS that breaks out SNAP enrollment by county. So we can get the number of cases pretty easily there. It also gives the dollar amount of SNAP issued, but that's the total dollar amount. So it's both the regular SNAP and eSNAP combined. But that, at least gets you to the number of households that'll be impacted in the area. So I was gonna say, send me an email. I'd be happy to pull that up and send you a link and help you figure out how to kind of calculate that.
Awesome. Thanks, Jill.
Yep. Any other questions? I'm gonna pop my email in the chat as well. If anything comes up later, let me know.
Thank you, Jill. All right, so now we will hear from Jeanette, also with Hunger Solutions, just about the TFAP calendar, what it is, and how you can use it.
Hi, everyone. I just put a link in the chat to the TFAP calendar, so that way you can reference it later. Let me share my screen. All right. So this is the TFAP calendar. These are the products that we have ordered. They're in the USDA system. And we have it set so that you can see what's coming in for the next 12 months. Originally, we just had the one screen that you can see, and that is the statewide view of everything that we have requested to come in throughout the whole state. But recently, we broke it down by bank. So you can go to the bottom here and just click on whichever food bank you order from, and then it will show you what products are coming in during those months, or what products are requested to come in during those months. It does change. The USDA is able to cancel orders or change dates. And when they do that, once we get word, we change it on the TFAP calendar. But this is really just a guide to kind of help you be able to plan if you need to purchase food, so you know what items you might not need to purchase because they're already planning to come in. So I do have a few notes up here. This on the statewide, there's one extra one. So delivery dates are estimates, like I had said. We do not change those. We do not cancel or make changes. It's the USDA that does that. So we don't have control over that. Please check with your local food bank to verify the inventory, because sometimes the dates do change. And then vendors also have a leeway where they can schedule a delivery. So some of these are like January 31st that we've requested to come in, but maybe they won't come in until February. If you do have questions, you can feel free to email me. I am the one that updates this calendar, but also check with your food bank. So if you have calendar specific questions, you can reach out to me. My email is right here in the green note. And you can see we have some extra orders now coming in from the CCC funding. So that's really exciting. In March is when we'll be placing orders for Q3. So probably mid-March-ish, you'll start to see July, August, and September getting filled out as well. But I wanted to show you this because I'm not sure how many people are using it. And now that we have it broken down by bank, I'm hoping that it will get utilized more. Because it's more tailored to your specific area. So what I will probably do is hop on in a few months again and just see if more people are using it, or if you have feedback or any questions. So I put the link. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. I put the link in the chat. And I will also put my email there too, even though it's up here on the calendar. But does anyone have any questions? Oh, the calendar is located on Hunger Solutions website. So the link is just like a quick how to get to it without having to go to HSM's website, but you can also get to it through the website. All right, I'll put my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jeanette. And our last speaker today will be Pete, also from Hunger Solutions, with some legislative updates.
Great, thanks, Stephanie. And great to see everyone here this afternoon. So yeah, things have been moving pretty fast at the legislature. And actually last week, both the Universal Free School Meals bill that we're leading on, as well as the Emergency Food Shelf bill passed off the House floor last Thursday. And so the food shelf bill passed unanimously, every member voting for it. And so that was just great to see. Just a great day overall at the legislature on addressing these issues. So thanks to all of you who reached out to your members and asked for their support. We had a lot of people take action through the action alert, and we'll still keep that action alert going for the Senate, and also just a nice way to say thank you to your House member as well. So I'll throw that in the chat here in a little bit. But that bill, the emergency food shelf funding, is the $5 million that we're requesting to get out, as soon as we can, to deal with the increased needs. So we're hearing that maybe as soon as next week, they could be taking that up in the Senate, but we'll certainly keep everyone posted on that, and hopefully be able to share some more good news soon in the future. Also wanted to mention that the governor did include some significant funding for food security in his budget proposal as well. And so that is $45 million overall over the next biennium, including $23 million kind of going forward in the future biennium. So would that include would be $12 million for food shelves ongoing in the base. And so that's a very significant investment, and as well as a one-time $19 million for capital funds to improve and expand food distribution facilities at food shelves across the state. And that would be available through 2027. So there's also SNAP outreach dollars. There's funding for food access related to tribal nations as well. But it's really a significant investment at a time where I think, we all know demand is at an all-time high. So once we pass the emergency $5 million funding, we look forward to really working with all of you to advocate for that, the governor's proposal as well. And a good way to do that will be at Hunger Day on the Hill, and that'll be coming up on March 8th. I'm sure many of you saw the invite for that, and that'll be in person at Christ on Capitol Hill. That is right across the street from the Capitol and the Minnesota Senate building. And so registration is open now for that as well. I'll throw that in the chat. And so just please register, as soon as you can, so we can get those visits scheduled. But like I said, it's a really good opportunity to thank your members in person in the House for passing that emergency funding. And then by then we'll probably know what happened in the Senate, and we hopefully can do some thanks to those members as well. So I'll throw both of those links in the chat, and happy to answer any questions if folks have them.
Hello, Peter, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Sandra Holden at Community Emergency Service. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I went on and I registered for Hunger Day on the Hill, and I went to register for the meeting with the legislator afterwards. I could not find Ilhan Omar anywhere in the drop-down box.
Yeah, so these are visits. It's a good question. These are visits for the state representative and state Senate. So not the congressional members. So just the state House and state Senate.
Okay, so how would I find that person that is relevant to my particular service area?
If you
Because
just,
my zip code, I use the options offered on the website, and I wasn't sure who that was.
okay, and if that's okay if you don't, I'll find that link as well. But I think if you just put in your address or the address that you want to use, we'll look that up and get it set up for you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sandra. Okay.
Hey, Pete, I just want to give a shout out to all the work Hundred Solutions has done for this legislative stuff, man. You stuck with it for a whole year. Last year had to be frustrating as you opened with now that things are moving. Thanks for staying the course because watching this, all this stuff was on the table last year and it got ignored for the most part and you guys didn't give up. So on behalf of all of us, my peers, thank you for the work that's being done at Hundred Solutions. You guys have been incredible.
Well, yeah, thank you, Dom. And yeah, I know you testified and drove all the way here to do that. And many of you have really worked hard on this as well. So it's a team effort, but we really appreciate everyone kind of chipping in. So and we're like excited like everyone else that things are moving and passing here. So that's great.
Thanks so much, Dom.
Oh, the question, sorry, I'm getting back to that. So how would the 5 million be dispersed? So it would be the same way we do the food shelf grants every year. So it would be distributed based on numbers, food shelf visits. So, and that would be one time, and I think it would last until the next June, according to the legislation. Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Pete. So for the last little bit of our time here, we are just going to go into breakout rooms and you guys can kind of catch up with each other, talk about trends that you're seeing, just kind of connect a little bit. And then from there, we'll just drop off. So thank you all for being here. Let us know if you have any questions and happy Monday.
And if you are wrapped up with your breakout, you are welcome to just head out and go about your day. Thanks for joining us.
Meeting is being recorded. meeting is being recorded.